Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Hey, today I thought I would shoot this video in a way that I thought would signify my compliance with all of the stay-at-home and social distancing orders and all that stuff that we have all across the country right now. So I thought I'd shoot it without direct contact with the camera, right? Without direct contact with you guys to protect you a little bit. So anyway, I'm going to shoot this video as a reflection of myself, my former self, in actually the window, the tinted window on my 2020 Toyota Tacoma. Now, I'm not on here today to talk about any of that stuff. I'm on here today to talk about a little bit of a comparison between my 2020 Jeep Gladiator and my 2020 TRD off-road Tacoma. I get a lot of questions about that, particularly on my other channel, Rob Motive. That channel focuses on my 2020 Toyota Tacoma. But a lot of people ask me, you know, which one's better? Which one do you like more? Which one would you keep if you could only have one? So I thought we kind of compare those a little bit from that perspective. You know, first of all, I love both trucks. I mean, I wouldn't have gotten them if I didn't like them, right? I mean, who buys something like this that they don't like? Although I must admit, I have discovered in the past with other vehicles that I've purchased, I didn't like them really that much and they didn't last long. But anyway, I love both of these trucks, but I love them both for different reasons. You know, the Toyota Tacoma, it feels bigger, it feels bulkier, it feels heavier. It doesn't have as much power as the Jeep Gladiator up above me here has. But it's reliable, it's fun to drive. I have a manual transmission in my Tacoma, so it's fun to drive. I love driving the manual transmission. I actually learned how to drive many moons ago on a manual transmission, so I really enjoy that part of it. I love the looks of it. I think, and I've mentioned this before, that it is one of the best looking trucks out there on the road, although the Jeep Gladiator is pretty close to me. And it's interesting, in talking about the appearance of the Jeep Gladiator, you know, it's kind of a polarizing truck, you know. Some people love it, some people hate it, but there isn't really any middle ground, you know. There isn't anybody that says, I could take it or leave it. They either one or the other, you know. And I must admit, when I first saw the Gladiator, I wasn't real hip on it, you know. But I think when you see one in person, this is one of those trucks that when you see one in person and you get in it and you experience it, it's a lot better. It's a lot better than looking at it on, you know, on a web screen or on a computer screen or in a brochure. It's just much more appealing in person, and that's the way it was for me. I actually got the Gladiator because my mother had gotten one. She loved them from the beginning. She got one so that I was more exposed to it, drove it, and fell in love with it. The Jeep Gladiator, as I mentioned, it is more powerful than the Tacoma. It's quicker, it's faster off the line. It feels more powerful to me. As far as functionality, you know, tech and all that kind of stuff, with the recent refresh to the Tacoma, this happened for the 2020 models, they're pretty much about even. I can't say that the Gladiator is way above the Tacoma as far as technology goes. Now, I might have said that with the previous versions, the 2018 and lower, maybe even the 2019. But not so anymore. They're pretty much equivalent as far as that goes. The Jeep Gladiator is a little bit heavier. I think by about 400 pounds or something like that, but it certainly doesn't feel that way. Towing capacity is higher in the Jeep Gladiator. Hauling capacity is higher in the Jeep Gladiator. Reliability is kind of the hinging point for me at this point, I guess, you know, as to which one I would prefer. You know, FCA or Fiat Chrysler, you know, and even just Jeep before that, has gotten a bad rap, probably deservedly so, for reliability. You know, they're not known to be one of the most reliable vehicle companies in the world, whereas Toyota, on the other hand, kind of prides themselves on that. You know, until recently, Toyota's been having a few recalls and issues recently. Of course, they have the ongoing frame rust problem. But overall, Toyota is looked at and produces a truck that is very reliable. So for me, it's going to come down to probably long-term experience with the Jeep Gladiator, because if it develops problems and I have to be in the shop and I have to mess with it, I'm not going to like that. I'm not going to dig that, right? I mean, I don't want any vehicle that I have to be living at the shop. And it's funny, and I've heard people say that, I go to the shop and they treat me really well and I'm on a first name basis with the service manager. I don't want to be on a first name basis with the service manager, right? I don't want to be there enough so that I remember the guy's name, so that I know his face and he knows my name. I think that's a problem. That's not a good thing. If you're on a first name basis with your service advisor, it's probably because you're there too much. So we shall see going forward just how the Gladiator performs from a reliability standpoint. I will say, recently I had one little glitch. I got in the truck, I turned it on, and the radio was black. It played, but the screen was black. Now, I will tell you that my wife, in her Jeep Wrangler, which you can probably see in the reflection right over there, a little bit of it, she's had the same problem. She had it one time. Same thing happened. She started the Jeep up and the screen was black. It did come back on, as did mine in the Gladiator. I actually turned it off, turned it back on, and it was like it kind of reset or something. So I'm hoping it's a one-time thing. Otherwise, I haven't experienced any problems with the Gladiator. It's been very reliable so far through about the first, 800 miles or so, which it should be. I mean, it's only 800 miles, right? I shouldn't have major problems. Although, it is a first-year model, and you know what everybody always says? Don't buy the first-year model. Well, I have the first-year model on the refresh on the Tacoma here, and the first year on the Jeep Gladiator up above. So, back to that burning question. Which one do I like better? At this point, I would say I like them equally. I don't really have a favorite between the two. I love driving each one of them for different reasons equally. Which one would I keep if I absolutely had to? Again, from a reliability standpoint, at this point in time, I gotta say it would have to be the Toyota Tacoma, only because of their reputation as compared to Fiat Chrysler's reputation. No other reason. There is no other feature, comfort, power reason that I would choose the Tacoma over the Jeep Gladiator at this point. It's only the reliability measure, I guess, for now. Anyway, I want to get on here, talk about that a little bit because I get questions about it, and I thought it would be good to get on here and settle that, or at least let you guys know what I'm thinking. So maybe if you're out there and you're considering one or the other, maybe to give you a little something to talk about. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this internet-safe video distancing method that I've used today, all in an effort to protect you guys and me. Anyway, if you haven't before, check out my other channel. It is Rob Motive, as I mentioned, all about my 2020 Toyota Tacoma off-road. Also, don't forget to click that notification bell so that you don't miss any upcoming videos. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.